All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Friday, May 10th, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Going to have a site-wide flash sale, by the way, starting Monday on pretty much everything, so stay tuned for that. Another little announcement to make, those of you guys have been following me on Twitter and following the saga of the Gamma Monkey shirt. That store that I have should be up and running next week. I'm getting another sample here in, should be today. So we're going to just test that out. I did decide on a final design, so for those of you guys who have been asking me about that shirt, should have it very soon. So stay tuned for updates. I'll be updating on Twitter on both of those sale. Site-wide sale and merch store. Anyway, let's get into it today. So there's a lot to unpack here. So today, Q's up $1.04. We did close below the master level here. So, but there's a lot of other things going on though. So Q's below red bar high, and it's not just a daily red bar high. It is a weekly. All right. So big deal. And you might say, oh, well, it's only by 6 cents. It doesn't, it matters. That was not on, it's always on purpose. Trust me. So that is still technically an inside bar on the Qs. Additionally, I'll just say the bear stuff here. So let's just do this. How we'll say this. So that's the point for the bears there. Another point for the bears, we'll just stick with the NASDAQ and we'll go to the NQ. And the ES, which I'll show you in a second, didn't even get to the 786, and this red bar high held. If we look at the ES, I think it's pretty plain to see this looks much less bullish than the SPX, right? The SPX looks cleared all resistance, right? We've gotten through all fibs. We're above the weekly red bar, right? So I mean, we got above that on Monday, and we gapped above it too. But the ES has a 20-point higher high than the SPX because the all-time high was put in during the overnight during Globex. So we're actually into the 786 and this big level. I tweeted about this level this morning. It's important. So high, breakout, back test, slice, base, 1, 2, 3 lower highs, couldn't hold it. Back test, and that's held ever since, and it held today. So I mean, like that's your point for the bears. They did the bare minimum on Friday. Is essentially what happened. I needed to see a lot more though. There was a lot of things I was looking for this week. A couple of things that bears needed to show me, and they didn't really do any of them other than hold that QQQ red bar. I told you on Tuesday I don't like you filled this gap. I might do a whole video on this at one point just because I think it's a topic that doesn't really get talked about a lot, but contrary to popular belief, you don't want to fill the gap for bears. You just trust me on this. So that was the first kind of red flag. I talked about that Tuesday. And then obviously closing above the 7.5 fib and the 7.86 and then confirming it today. Those are not good things, right? I didn't need to see the bears crash the market this week. I just needed them to do the absolute bare minimum, which is just keep it off of that level until Opex, and then you can drop off. So, at this point, is there going to be another leg down? There will be a pullback here. In fact, there is I have sell signal on the daily chart right now, and it's based on time counts, which, again, going to be in the cycles course, which will be on sale Monday. Also, there's another date coming up very soon that lines up with a pivotal time. So, just throwing that out there. Anyway, again, that doesn't mean we can't pull back. We are already kind of getting stretched. Another thing to look at it and talk about this. AAII, it's not the be all end all, but uptick in bulls, big downtick in bears. Another thing, short interest on SPY and QQQ hitting multi-year lows. I don't have zero hedge premium, but I'll take their word for it. It looks, looking at the tape, again, like I'll take their word for it. Like the vol selling, guys, it is absolutely out of control. Another thing I tweeted about this morning was the S&P being completely outside of its hourly Bollinger Band in the first 10 minutes. And I said, this, hint, hint, they probably needs to pull back. Guys, I played this in the trading room with VXX, and look what happened to this. Like, I think I lost 4 cents on this at a 30-point drop on the S&P. So vol selling is absolutely out of control right now. So again, last week we were overhedged. I talked about that in the beginning of the week. Now this week we're underhedged. So if a fly lands on a post the wrong way, vol seller gets run over, and then you have a big sell to the downside. That's why I talked about the possibility of a tape raid, which we didn't get, but these are the conditions that it can happen in. That said, we have CPI on Tuesday. If we're pumping up like this, I don't care what CPI is, that's gonna start a pullback. So there's that to look forward to. But the big picture, I'm saying, I'll let say this. I would say probably a higher low at this point. Maybe double bottom, or some. If we do make that leg lower, it's going to take some other catalyst is going to have to come into play, probably after Opex next Friday. So that's the long and short of it. Qs, again, the levels are the same there. And the next resistance is double top, obviously. So you need to tell you that. IWM was weak today. Again, bonds lower, super rate sensitive, and that continues to be the case. IWM, since we're talking about weekly levels, IWM below the red bar, QQQ below the red bar, SPX above, and the diamond's well above. Diamond was actually pretty strong all week long. So that had that failed bear pattern, boom. It's almost at all-time highs already. So Dow holding up. Here's the next, this is the biggest point for the bears by far, even bigger than the QQQ inside bar. SMH, not just the 618 holding on a weekly close, but the red bar holding on a weekly close. You might say, if you're new to the channel, you might say, well, who cares about the SMH, QQQ? No, SMH, SMH. Always SMH. That is the biggest point for the bears that they can hang their hat on. The fact that they showed up on SMH says a lot to me. That said, they also didn't do a lot of other things, so I'm not just going to anoint them right now. But that holding on a weekly close, yeah, that needed to happen. So semis were soft all week, and that's with TSM having that big bid today. So, and look at NVIDIA not making new highs with the market. IGV, another tech sector, big tech sector, up 23 cents. The high of the week was pretty much on Monday. I think we maybe kissed it today. But you still have a weekly bearish inside bar as well here. So ironically, technology is the laggard in this market. Banks are the leader, which isn't bearish, but point for another time. Dow Transport's closing above the 50 MA. So good look there, finally catching up. I still don't like the chart. I still don't really like anything about the transports. But they had a nice bid this week, and we'll give them that. Next level, we'll just say 15,750, 15,800 for now. All right, let's get over to rates here. By the way, another big day for the Hang Seng. So I did sell my China play. I'm looking to get back in. I think the next dip can be bought. Same thing with the Shanghai, and that was a really good trade. Anyway, rates here. 2 years up. This is starting to look like the rates want to kind of curl back up here, especially on the short end. This is kind of a weak bear flag type candle. It's not wide range enough. You had a good tail. The low's held. So let me put our moving averages back on. There we go. So 2 years still holding up. Fives, a little bit more bear flaggy, but not terrible. And then this 10s and 30s are a little bit weaker. So the 2 year, and again, they keep talking about the market's up, so the financial media has to come up with a narrative, right? So they keep saying, like, oh, the market's more optimistic about rate cuts. No, they're not, because the yield curves are further inverting as of this week. So that's not true. So again, you just got to laugh at this stuff, but they need a story, they need a reason to tell people. The market was up because of event vol down, unwinding, and put sellers just being relentless. That's it. It has nothing to do with anything else. XHB down 8 cents today. Actually came off the highs. And I'm still inside of this channel. So home builders are kind of like middle of the road. They're not strong. They're not weak. Kind of in the kind of a tweener. But inside of this channel, you know, if you break the lower end, then it can go down into the 97 handle. If you get above, then I'd say double top is not out of the question. VNQ backing off of the 50 MA. We talked about this being a resistance. It held on a weekly close. You did close above the red bar, but this is the big level to me. And you didn't close above this one, which was the real breakdown bar. All right, XLF, again, continues to be strong. Up 16 cents on the day. That's close to double top. Banks being strong is not bearish. KBE down fractionally, but I mean, this honestly, I mean, this is kind of tempting here, really. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying that, but look at this weekly pattern, guys. It's really turned the corner. KRE, I just don't like how we had the failure, but it's firming up a little bit. So broker dealers still very strong, overbought on the monthly, but you know, chart is okay. So oil backed off a little bit today. I still think there's a local low in place. It didn't get up to target. I think it will next week, but they did knock it down. If you look at the kind of our intraday, this is kind of an air pocket right here. So they are kind of filling that up. You know, maybe it has to go down into the, I did close out my oil position today, by the way. Yeah, maybe it has to go down here and retest, you know, 77.80, but I still think there's a good chance of another push up here in oil. It's just short-term stuff. XLE down, again, that trend line we talked about yesterday, that held. I'm in partial on this right now. You could make a case, though, that you got like a little bull flag, I guess. I just don't like how you close below that weekly green. But XOP, it's the same exact look, and same thing with OIH. Kudos to OIH for closing back above 320 this week. CCJ, a little bit of a gap and crap here, but again, the weekly is still very strong. Nothing's changed on that front. URNM is going to get a weekly close above that trend line. We'll see what it does next week. But it's holding up okay. And NJ actually down on the week, but only down by $1, so nothing terrible. Weekly pattern is still very strong. Nat gas selling off about 4 cents. Not a big move. Let me fix that. There we go. Not a terrible move. It's had a really good week here. So outside move up on the weekly. And again, the falling wedge break here. I think if it consolidates, it can have another push. Looking at the M, I think I told you, yeah, 240, 235 would be resistance, and that's where it backed off of. So it just needs to consolidate, and then it can go higher. I think this rolls soon. So end contract, there you go. You know, 250, 260. If it consolidates, it can push up into, yeah, maybe even 280. That wouldn't be down the line after the contract roll, though. Dollar index was weak early, but came back pretty strong. Lower high here on the daily, right? But weekly, again, that weekly candle's fine. This can just stay firm, and if it does that, it can go higher. Everybody's talking about the yen, so I'll talk about it. Again, we talked about the back test here. It's probably going to be a lower high here. That's kind of my guess right now, but we'll see. Gold having a decent pop today. So back above all the major moving averages. If we break it down onto a 4-hour, though, you can see this is a pretty decent little supply zone right here. And I think we're going to have to chew through that for a few days or make a lower high. But gold up nicely. GDX, new 52-week high, but not a new closing high. Take a look here at this trend line, by the way. Right into that. It may need a little bit more work to get through that. But it's holding up well, and it made a new 52-week high while gold did not. That's bullish. And a lot of these gold companies reporting earnings, they were pretty good from what I saw. And they're actually starting to factor in, because gold is holding above 2,000 for so long, it's starting to get factored into, you know, future earnings. I think the street is looking at that too. Silver down a little bit today after pumping earlier. Again, same look. on the 4-hour, right? Little supply zone, and that's where it went, and now it's pulling back. Platinum here, good move. I just want a higher high on that, but nice pop. Palladium still got to get above 1,000. So still struggling with that area. Copper, I think, was a climax here, possibly. Look at this move. Parabolic and then parabolic down. This should be a lower high here coming. Even though it held up on the weekly, that may be a climax there. So we'll see what that does next week, but pretty crazy run copper's been on. Bitcoin, so here's like something maybe, going in the bear's favor. Again, Bitcoin tends to lead stocks sometimes. And it's sold off pretty good, pretty much all day. I don't know if that's leading the market or telling us anything. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But engulfing, we had a nice pop. Started to look like a bull flag yesterday, but then we came back down. Again, we weren't above the 20 MA. So bull flag less likely to play out. And looks like we're going to close below the low. So again, 52 is support. That's the next real level. There's a 200 MA there, and then 46, 47 below that. So again, market's holding up this week very nicely. Vol sellers out of control. They will be next week too, but we have more actual volatility events, so it probably won't be as one-sided. I still think the market could be set up for a pullback. Again, now there's lots of calls in the system. There's lots of, the hedging is non-existent now. So you could see a little bit of an opposite effect, but, I would have preferred for bears, defend that gap, defend the 7.5 retrace. It's not asking a ton. So definitely showing some weakness, but there's points on both sides. Banks strong, semis weak, IGV weak. I do think we'll get some type of a retrace here. The question is, does it turn into lower low or not? I think it's up in the air right now. We'll have to let the next week unfold, and that'll tell us a lot more once we get there. And we have CPI next week too. So, all right, guys, I'm wrapped up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I will talk to you guys all next week.